Shalom, shalom. This week's Parsha is Parshat KiTavo, and it begins that when you come into the land that God has given us, and everybody gets their inheritance in the portions of lands, that the farmer should take their first fruit and put it in a basket and bring it up to the place that God designated where the Kohen resides, and to bring this first fruit in this basket and to go through this little history about all the way back from our forefathers, how they started out, and how they were few in number, and they went down to Egypt, and then they became numerous, and they were enslaved and in pain and cried out to God, and God saved them from the Egyptians and took them out and finally brought them into the land where they were able to plant their fruit and finally bring these beautiful first fruits that God has blessed them up into the Kohen. And then it says in the pasuk, "V'samachta b'chol hatov asher natan l'cha Hashem," and you will rejoice with all the good that God has given you. You will rejoice. It is said as a statement. This is something that we're told to do, to look in this basket and rejoice what God has given us, whatever it is. Don't look in your neighbor's basket. Look in your own basket at what God has given you, at this good, and be grateful and be happy. And this all makes sense. It's very important. We know the attitude of gratitude, how it affects us emotionally, psychologically, and everything we do is how we perceive things, how we go about things. And if we feel gratitude, it's a much better life. But why do we have to go through all of this? It seems like so much for a farmer who's a very busy man to take the time to make this journey and to go through a whole history lesson and then to be happy. Well, what is this? And I think that it makes so much sense to me nowadays when you look at how we live in a time of bounty. We have so much. God has really blessed us, and people tend to harp on the negative, on what they don't have, to look in their neighbor's basket and to complain and not to be happy. And I think that all of this, to have a journey, a long time to have for introspection, and then to come there and to remember that it's not just about you and your farm, which is very easy to get taken away from. I understand that. I get very carried away. I was in my kitchen this morning trying to get ready for Shabbos in my own little place, and I burnt my brownies, ruined my cake, dropped a whole dish. I got really frustrated, really upset, and decided to take a break and to work and prepare this Parsha video. And when I read this, I realized how ridiculous, how upset I was getting over such a small thing. What about this big picture? What is the fact that God has brought, thank God I am blessed. I have gotten here to this promised land. I sit here, I'm able to make Shabbos, and there is stuff that I made that was salvageable, and I do have good things, and to focus on what I still have, what is left in my basket, what God has given me for this Shabbat in this promised land that He gave to our forefathers thousands of years ago, and that we've lost. We lost it when our forefathers had to go down and they were enslaved and they went through a really difficult time. And here I sit, blessed. I'm going to focus on the negativity, but people tend to do that, especially people that spend their every day, get up early in the morning, go to sleep late at night, working. It's so easy to get carried away with your own things and not to focus on whatever it is that's left in the basket that God has given you, this good in our basket. But when we're forced to take the time and to think and to remember our history and to see how much God has done for us, and that this is a story, this is a journey that we're on and that we're in the middle of, and to thank God for the past and to know that we have a promising future if we go about things properly, then you don't get upset about the small stuff. You just don't. You just rejoice about everything that is good that God has given you today. Because we all have things to be grateful for, and we all have things to be thankful for, and we all have things that can make us happy, and stop and enjoy those things. Because they're a blessing today that we have, and we should appreciate it when we have them, instead of losing them and then have to be really upset and pray for something that we lost. let's just say thank you for today, to be happy with it, to enjoy it. Hopefully we can all enjoy our Shabbat with all the blessings that we have, and hopefully that will incur more blessing, and that God will smile upon us and answer our prayers, and that everybody can have joy and happiness restored in their life. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.